Okay, call to order, water demand meeting for June 4th, 2026, 1:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Director Oglesby?
Here.
Director Oglesby, yes, present. Director Gawain?
Present.
Chair Edwards?
Present.
All committee members are present.
Thank you. Any additions and corrections to the agenda?
No.
Okay. Public comment. Public may comment on any item within the district jurisdiction. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. Do we have anybody online?
We have one member of the public in attendance, however, no raised hands.
Okay. Well, let's get to action items. We got the GM here, we got the AGM, and we got Stephanie here just to monitor, and we got our new water demand manager here. All right, who want to run it? Dave, you want to start us off?
No, we should have Molly run it.
Okay, I was going to say that, but I didn't want to step on nobody's toes. It's all yours there, young lady.
All right, so we're on discussion items, personnel update.
We're on action item 1, Molly.
Oh, consider adoption of committee meeting minutes from April 2nd, 2026.
Okay.
Yep.
Any opposed?
We got any corrections?
Any corrections?
No corrections?
Nope.
All right. Do we have a motion?
Yes, I move adoption of the minutes from the April meeting.
Director Green, move adoption. Do we have a second? Second from the mayor? Okay. All right. Any comments from the public out there on this item?
There are no raised hands from the public.
All right, let's take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Oppose? No oppose? All right. Motion carried, 3-0. Next item, please.
Next item, we have a personnel update for the water demand.
Nope, you keep jumping.
What?
You want to get over it? You want to get it over with?
Oh, no. That's what I have on mine.
Yeah. Action item number 2.
Oh, we must have an old version.
Yeah, it's on the posted version. And this would be Stephanie. And we can't hear you, Stephanie.
No, still no Stephanie.
Okay, I guess jump in here then, Dave.
Oh, and that's weird because her muting came on and her muting came off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can everyone see the PowerPoint?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But we cannot hear the presenter.
I'll just have her come in here. Hold on.
Who's going to present it at the meeting?
Unmute Mike.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, this is coming from Mike's office. So this is item 2 to discuss the policy questions related to upcoming amendments to rules and regulations. Move it, sir. So the committee is being asked to provide policy direction. Topics today will include deed restrictions, high efficiency dishwasher and clothes washer requirements, ultra high efficiency toilet requirements, and rebates and water credits. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to present each one of these questions and then have the discussion before we move to the next question. And then we'll have you give direction to staff so that we can follow it up with amendments to our rules and regulations. So Sarah, would you please advance one? So our first question today has to do with deed restrictions. The Water Demand Division routinely uses deed restrictions so that property owners and current property owners and future property owners are aware of what the requirements are for their property and how many water fixtures they've been permitted. The policy question related to this is, should we continue to, or should we record deed restrictions for all water permits? Right now, we only record this particular deed restriction that lists the water fixtures and water efficiency requirements when one of those items in the purple or blue text is included as part of a water permit. So our question is, should we do it on all permits? Or should we only be recording the deed restrictions that list all the fixtures and the requirements when there is a high efficiency appliance?
For clarification, Stephanie, if none of the three in the purple were to happen, what deed restriction would you be recording?
Well, for every permit that we issue, we record an access to public access to water records. But this particular deed restriction that lists the water fixtures is only recorded when there are high efficiency dishwashers, washing machines, instant access hot water, or ultra high efficiency toilets that the applicant has agreed to do to reduce the fixture unit count so they can offset other water fixtures.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm still a little confused then. What is this question being asked?
Well, the question being asked is whether we should be recording the number of fixtures for every property that we issue a permit for. I think
Okay.
is primarily not just for those that have these efficiency appliances.
Okay, now I understand.
Directors, any comments on that right now?
Well, I would have a question. What is the benefits, or what is the issue we're trying to solve? How would it benefit the ratepayers or the district to account for all of the fixtures?
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a benefit or a problem associated with this, other than that it provides notice to our current and future property owners as to what water fixtures are permitted for a property. We get calls every day from people who want to know what their fixture count is.
So what's happening is they pull a water permit which identifies all these things, but then they don't put that permit in a file somewhere for a new owner to discover.
Right.
Okay. And so recording it on the deed would just simply take the information that's in the water permit.
Go, Director Nguyen, go ahead.
I am confused now by what Dave just said, because I thought that when any of these three items is used as an offset to reserve credits for use elsewhere on the property, there is now a recording, but routinely there isn't. And yeah, I think that it seems like a good idea that you are recording these things for the offset. And so I think there would also be a good idea to keep a record in more general cases.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have a bunch of new buildings going up in the future. Now we need to cover our behinds. So if you have to put a deed restriction in for everything. I know it's more work, but you need to be able to make sure we're covered. So,
Mr. Chair,
yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say when you deal with real property, the only way you can give notice is by recording against the property. That puts the district in the strongest position for enforcement purposes. And as Stephanie mentioned, it definitely puts future property owners on notice. Oh, I can't just do what I want. I'd better contact the water district and figure out if, the improvements I'm thinking about, I can do. So the recording is important. Yes, they might find a water permit, or we could show them a copy of it. I'm talking about a subsequent owner. But it doesn't have the same notice as something recorded against their property. So if you're amenable to the expansion, I believe that it is in the district's best interest, especially on another item that you have, if you make changes to what the jurisdictions are doing or not doing with their water allocations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Fran. Glad you're here on this one. So, yeah, will we have a problem to do what our attorney Fran just said? Stephanie?
No, I think I think ideally we would be, we recommend that we should be doing this
Yeah.
for every water permit that's issued.
Right. And in these conversations, I want to hear from our new demand manager, because Stephanie, are you going to be at the 15th meeting to present this?
This won't be coming to the board probably for another couple months.
Well, I guess you'll be ready for it. Have you took this out to the realtors yet and tell them what we're about to do?
Not this one, no. This is your discussion to give us some direction so that we can develop policy.
Okay. Any other directors? Any other comments on this one before we start?
Yeah, I would just say quickly, it makes sense to me after Stephanie and Fran explained it. Just keeping up it's two things, keeping the district in the strongest position, but also letting the homeowners know what restrictions are without them having to call back down here all the time. That makes sense to me. If you can you can, correct 2 or 3 things with this one change, so to speak, it's worth the work.
Okay. Director Gwen, any other comments on this one before we?
No, I'm psyched about it.
Okay, I know it's going to be a while before it goes to us, but it needs to go out to the realtors and tell them what we're about to do. Any other parties out there that we usually come in and bump heads with, because this is a big change, and I like the change. So,
Yeah, so these.
One more thing, Chair. Yeah, make sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Make sure for me, send it to the cities.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely go to the technical advisory committee.
Thank you.
That's what I was just going to clarify. So your direction here will set us on a path to developing a red line version of some rules and regs, and then that will be sent to the TAC, which will be all your planners at each of the jurisdictions.
Right. Okay, I know we got some time with Stephanie, so she can teach our new demand manager how to make the rounds.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can move to our second question.
Yep, go ahead.
So this has to do with permit requirements. And at this time, so high efficiency appliances are required in new construction. And those appliances are dishwashers, washing machines, primarily instant access hot water systems. And we also require that people retrofit existing toilets, to high efficiency toilets, put in low flow shower heads and faucet aerators. The question is, should high efficiency dishwashers and high efficiency clothes washers be required for all water permits? And if so, should the requirement only apply to newly installed dishwashers and clothes washers? Or should older, less efficient dishwashers and clothes washers also have to be changed out as a condition of a water permit?
So to paraphrase again, in, let's say, two examples, one would be a change in title. You would be saying that that's a new retrofit requirement?
No,
No.
this would only be for a water permit.
So only when a water permit's being pulled. So if you wanted to do a kitchen bump out with a new sink, the question then on the table here is, would we at that point also require retrofit of dishwasher and clothes washer? Is that
Yes.
you're asking? Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Director Wynn.
Oh, yes. So the question that occurred to me here is, what is the price differential generally? In other words, how burdensome is this requirement?
It would probably be in the neighborhood of $2,000. You could definitely go higher, depending on what appliance you pick. But, your clothes washers, you can get a high efficiency clothes washer for around 500, 550. And you can get a dishwasher for also probably less than 500. But of course, there's installation costs.
But okay, now I am confused because so you're getting a water permit. It's not the question of whether you have to get a dishwasher and a clothes washer. It's whether it has to be high efficiency, right? So isn't it? So what's the price differential between a high efficiency dishwasher and a regular dishwasher?
I have no idea.
I mean, I think that's something to explore because that relates to the burden that we are asking people. These high efficiency dishwashers and clothes washers save substantial amounts of money, so they're highly desirable, but we are also sensitive to, like, okay, someone is doing a minor remodel and every penny counts. I favor their spending on this and then getting prettier doorknobs next year or whatever they can. But I think we need to understand.
Yeah, I think there is a burden because if you came in to convert a half bath to a full bath, and as a result of pulling that permit, we're going to require them to retrofit their dishwasher and their clothes washer, then it's the full cost.
And their toilets.
Well, true, if they've got a non-compliant toilet. Yeah.
So, I'm not supportive for those reasons. Somebody wants a water permit, but to have them retrofit the whole house, that's difficult for me to support. We want to encourage, we want to incentivize, but to say we want you to flip all your appliances because you want a water permit to add one room or something like that, then all of a sudden it is cost prohibitive just to add that room, right? And so I wouldn't be supportive of that concept.
Yeah, and I've got to imagine when your dishwasher or clothes washer dies of natural death, that there's probably only a higher efficiency out there to replace them with. But yeah, I think the mayor is onto something here.
So here's a sub question to that then. If someone is coming and wants to install a new dishwasher, in other words, they don't have a dishwasher, or they want to put or they want to put a second laundry in, should those fixtures be required to be high efficiency fixtures?
Well, I think you answered that question somewhere in the materials. You provided us with information about, for dishwashers, just dishwashers right there save water.
Right.
So if
That's
it's the
true.
first
That is
dishwasher, it's inherently water saving. So that's already progress. I guess if someone wants to, and I don't know why I'm like very interested in this whole topic. And I was imagining something, okay, so somebody wants to have a second dishwasher because they have a bar sink or whatever. I doubt that they are using more water in their home because they're having a party and now they just put everything in the dishwasher instead of doing it all by hand. So it seems to me that like having a dishwasher is a good start, but I would be more sympathetic with the idea that a second dishwasher, which is a luxury, should be high efficiency than demanding that anybody who put in a dishwasher, which is already saving us water, it has to be high efficiency. Let's just let them put in a dishwasher.
And that is another question we're going to have here in just a
Yeah.
second. Yeah, but this would be this where I'm going right now is if somebody wanted to put in a and this goes to the same question though, if they wanted to put in a dishwasher in their pantry, should we require that that dishwasher be a high efficiency dishwasher? And opposite being if somebody wanted to put in a clothes washer upstairs and they already have one downstairs, does that new clothes washer need to meet our requirements as high efficiency?
I think the second one should be required. You know, that's not a burden, right? Because the policy has to be for all residents. So if you're talking about the person that's just struggling to buy the first dishwasher or the first, what is it?
Yeah, clothes washer.
Yeah, clothes washer. Then that's a hard bargain. But if you have the ability to buy a second one, but then, you know, well, first of all, you indicate you want to be efficient because you don't want to have to go downstairs to take your clothes downstairs to the first dishwasher. I mean, the clothes washer, and then, you know, yeah, the second one seems reasonable to me, but not requiring it for a new one, not requiring it for a replacement. But the second one definitely.
Thank you. Director Edwards, did you have any further comments on this one?
Yeah, I got look, some folks like my house is an older house. Now I would like to get a dishwasher or something, but then I wouldn't have to didn't want to throw in all that money for the retrofits that you got to do. So I was thinking about the cutoffs. Now new constructions, they should be putting in these new retrofits for all this high efficiency stuff. The people that got older homes, that's extra money. I like to have a high efficient. My son take over my house or something, he gonna put in these modern stuff. So, and I know if we require that, that's gonna cost them extra for whatever whoever get the house. So I don't know how we could work around that. And you know, how can we work around that? That new construction ought to have all that, you know, stuff put in already. Older construction, we got a problem with. So
So I think what I'm hearing is that you would if somebody wanted to put in say a second clothes washer in their house, or if they didn't even have a clothes washer in their house and they wanted to put a new clothes washer in,
right.
we would want those to be efficient clothes washers, but we're not going to make somebody take out their other fixtures at that time and put in higher efficiency fixtures.
So I'm thinking sort of that way, because if I had it in there before, now I got to take out stuff to put in something newer that's supposed to be saving me water. Why should I lose my old stuff? So that's the workaround.
Yeah, I think you and the mayor and Director Gawain are all sort of saying the same thing. I think we're there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to be clear, not restriction on the first one.
Through the chair to
Yeah,
Stephanie,
go
if I
ahead.
may.
Go ahead, Frank.
Steph, if you proceed to draft something, will you look at it in terms of the second bathroom protocol and whether they need to be accepted out of this?
We always look at the second bathroom protocol, so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so when it comes back, we got problem. We got new construction. I think when you put that new construction in, you should have all this stuff that we're asking for. Old construction, we need to be able to work around on the cost. So when this comes back again, I hope we have those answers.
Okay. All right, so let's go to the next question. And this has to do with multiple high efficiency dishwashers. So this is the question about if someone wants to install a second or even a third dishwasher in their home, because using dishwashers is more efficient than hand washing. The question is, should that be allowed without requiring additional water capacity? And I think I know the answer from at least one of you.
Yeah, because I strongly feel like talking about the public image here, we're so emphasizing water efficiency, and to have someone look and say, I wanted to put in a second dishwasher for when I have a party or when the whole family convenes for Thanksgiving, and they wouldn't let me, even though they're always telling me that it saves water. I mean, let's be rational and present ourselves as rational. Yeah.
Okay, comments, Director Oglesby?
Okay, I'm trying to understand that last comment from my colleague. So you're saying you're okay with them having a second one?
Yeah, because it saves, because I don't, yes, I am, because I believe it will save, save water. Because
Yeah, and Mr.
dishwashers
Mayor,
save water.
I think her analogy is a good one. If you have a big party, or everyone's home for Thanksgiving, it just spreads the burden out that you're going to do all the washing anyway. And in fact, it may end up with less water usage because you're not just hitting it in your sink.
Yeah,
So
some people be washing it in the sink
yeah,
to save time and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay, I understand. I'm comfortable with that concept.
Yeah, with me, when you start talking about two or three, you making me think about commercial a little bit.
Mhm.
And when you talking about two or three putting in, you talking about, well, I got me a 3-bedroom. I'm setting up a small apartment complex, or whatever, rentals and stuff. So you making me think about, okay, you got extra money, you need to retrofit or whatever, because you're gonna be making money.
Go back to the first one.
I'm just looking at all sides, not just because I'm having a party. I'm thinking about written out. So
so Stephanie, in Director Edwards' case, if it's in, let's say, an ADU or separate multifamily units,
yeah, there you go.
This isn't really that case. You're just talking
It
about
does not, no, this does not impact those situations.
like a second one in a pantry area
or by both sides of the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
And I think that
And inside their living quarters, right? That's separate from ADU, that's separate from the granny unit, inside the single family house.
Yes.
No matter how big it is, right? So, upstairs, downstairs, butlers, pantry, whatever the case may be. Yeah. No, I like the concept of, like you said, Dave, if I only got one dishwasher, are they piling up in the sink, or do someone just start doing it by hand? And if they got the money that they want to do it, then, buy the second one. I'm just talking about the person struggling to buy the first one, right? Those are the ratepayers right there. Everybody pays the same rate.
Okay, so how you gonna come back on this one, Steph? You need to think about how you're gonna write it up.
we got it, but I do appreciate the feedback on that one. And we can go to our next question. And this has to do with ultra high efficiency toilets, which we give a fixture credit for. These are 0.8 gallon per flush toilets that are WaterSense rated. Interestingly, what I found out earlier today, I thought that there were only 2 manufacturers that were approved with WaterSense. Apparently in the last 2 years or so, since I looked at their list, there's now over 100 different manufacturers. Yes. So the question is, should we continue to offer credit for installation of the ultra high efficiency toilet? And also, this goes back to our earlier question is, should there be a deed restriction that explains that that is a permanent requirement? And I think we've already answered the deed restriction question. So the question, I guess, to you right now is, shall we continue to allow or to give a credit for ultra high efficiency?
I have a question of Stephanie, a technical.
Go ahead.
Did you all, I'm sure there's a history, what were your observations about dual flush toilets?
So we allow dual flush toilets. There's a calculation that it determines whether it's a 0.8 gallon or whether it is a 1.28 gallon toilet.
Because I was just wondering, like, is there a technical bulletin to, like, it seems to me that if you have a dual flush toilet, it's often going to be used for just for liquids at the 0.8 level, and then could succeed with solids at the 1.28 level. Whereas if you have only the ultra low at the 0.8, it ends up being dual flushed. I mean, flushed twice, sometimes for, you see what I mean? So I was just wondering if anyone had actually done a study of the water usage in a bathroom of a dual versus an ultra low.
I'm sure there have been studies done because they've been on the market for many, many years. We require that they have to have WaterSense rating to qualify as meeting our requirements. And as part of the WaterSense rating, the toilets have to flush efficiently and have to clear the lines. So that's definitely part of it. So they do work. Actually, I think they work better than the 1.28 gallon toilets in many cases. So it's just there are different ones out there. There's a testing company that does what's called a mapped test that takes material and flushes it to see how far it gets out of the toilets. And you can pick whether or not you want one that's really super awesome or whether it's not so awesome. But anyway, yes, so they have looked at those various things.
And do we know how widely adopted the ultra high efficiency toilets are in our district?
In our district, we have quite a few of them because we've been offering a credit for them for probably 15 years.
Yeah, that's just what I'm trying to get at. I mean, I'm trying to get at is like, is this successfully incentivizing people to adopt something we want them to adopt? Because that would indicate perhaps it's desirable to continue incentivizing it.
Yeah, and you've already answered a question about deed restrictions, but my concern and the reason this is actually before you is because people don't know that they're permanently required to keep the 0.8 gallon toilet. And if they replace a toilet, they just don't have that knowledge, which is provided by those deed restrictions, then they might go out and buy a higher flow toilet.
We're gonna keep the deed restrictions, so we ought to do the toilets, keep them with the toilets.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because all about when you go to sell it, and the guy says, well, everything going through except those 3 toilets have to be changed. Right. So that's what I meant. If you guys are wrapping it all together, just wrap it all together and put it all documented. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, my last point is that's good thinking. That's good planning.
So, And is it costing us a lot more than not having it, you know? So I feel we need to keep it.
And I think that's a unanimous one on that one. So let's go to our next question. And this one is rebates and water credit. So when you do retrofits, you can get water credits. A credit is available for up to 10 years. You can also get a rebate for eligible retrofits. And up until the adoption of Ordinance 201, we required that people pay back a rebate if they wanted to use a water credit. That was taken out kind of with a misunderstanding, so I'm trying to get a clarification from you at this time, whether or not if you get a rebate, that therefore you have said, I want a rebate, I don't want a water credit. And Dave, am I making sense on that one for everybody? Because I know this is one of Dave's items.
Well, yeah, my feeling is if you opt to get a rebate, you shouldn't be allowed later to turn it into a credit by repaying the rebate. It should be just you make the decision and you say, I took the cash, I got my cash, I'm good. And the second thing related to this is that second bullet. Now that we have a surplus of water supply, which we expect to have for a couple of decades, do we still want to leave water credits out there for being valid for 10 years? Do we want to reduce that to 5? It used to be 2 5-year periods. And about 10 years ago, we just combined it up and said it's good for 10 years. It almost strikes me that if somebody's trying to do a project and for which they need water credit, they ought to establish a credit and then do the project within a 5-year period. Because what's happening is our standards change. And so if we document a credit and then the current standard, either a statewide building code standard or our standard is something even more efficient, the longer the term of the credit, the more likely there is an inefficient item that was given a credit for that even in today's market, you wouldn't be able to reinstall. So, time limiting to 5 years is the other concept on the table here, in addition to reversing out a rebate to create a credit, which I think is a bad idea.
So let me get in before I forget this. After 10 years, can I get an extension?
No.
Well, we did provide language for an extension just a couple years ago. I think that language went into place, but it's not supposed to be for years and years. It's supposed to be, oh, my credit's expiring and I can't get the project done for another 6 months. That type of thing.
Well, I would go with the 5 years and then give that 5 years extension. And anything after that, no, because that's 10 years.
Well, they should have to come in for the extension. Give us a good reason, give a reason.
Yeah.
Everybody will come in for an extension if there's an extension. And actually, and I'm not 100% sure of this, but in the early 80s, early 90s, I think that the credit period may have actually been even shorter than a 5-year period, and there was one extension. But because all the jurisdictions ran out of water, we extended it to 5 years and 5 years, and then we just extended it and said 10 years because we were having issues with people coming back in and requesting extensions, and that kind of became a problem.
Yeah, no, I understand they would come back in for an extension, but that's the point about they get to ask for it. I mean, just if it automatically runs out, you mean to tell me I can't ask for it again? I just, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I got it and I was not able to build it. So now what I'm getting to is there's no line to get back into. It's over.
But right now, you can get water from a jurisdiction, and that is what we're
Yeah.
wishing for.
Go ahead, Director. Gwen.
Yeah, it's the part about not being able, making the decision one and done, not being able to pay the money back and get the credit later, totally makes sense to me. And my only request there is just like you have this in red for us at the bottom of the slide, that people just have absolute clarity that they are making their decisive choice. I don't want someone to not understand that they need to be making the choice. I have a little bit of concern. On the one hand, I like the idea of, okay, let's move along and with our best, most efficient technology that we have now and use these water credits. I do have some compassion. I have some concern as a resident of the unincorporated county. We have not seen what the supervisors are going to give us for the water allocation policy. But right now, and thinking the planning commission is at like 80% of water is going for large plan developments and maybe another 5%. I don't know, Helen Reserve or whatever. In other words, it's not a lot of water credits so far for just regular people doing little things. And so, as a kind of inefficient human being, I know how long it can take to get something done, and that I worry a little bit about whether we're going to be queued up for water credits in the unincorporated county. But I respect a push towards efficiency too. So, neutral.
Just, Mr. Chair, if I may respond.
Yeah, go ahead there, Frank.
Okay. We at the district have processed both September Ranch and Rancho Cañada Village. Each project has their own water rights that they're using, and so it's not coming out of the county's allocation. And further, they will be having extensive CC&Rs with their own restrictions on the number of fixtures. And if a person exceeds it, then they have to go to the county for permission. And if they don't fit into the county's timeline, which the last one would be the first come, first serve, they'll be stuck with a very comfortable home, but not maxed out to the extent that they might like. So I hope that that would assuage your concern.
Partly it does, but we're dealing with a builder's remedy projects here, a lot of them. We've got Valverde coming in. We have 90 units that Mr. Orozco wants to build in the village. And I just heard we have a new builder's remedy project for 24 units at Mid Valley, and we have like 6 months more to come, and these are coming fast at us. So I just don't know where they're going to fit in. New builder's remedy projects could fit into this.
We have dealt somewhat with Valverde, so there is an existing well in agricultural history. Steph, I don't know, do you know more about what the water would be at the airfield out in Carmel Valley or the Mid Valley parcel?
Well, no, but I think the question is more the allocation policy of the jurisdictions. And I think that will be an item coming up in a few minutes. And so I think that, the jurisdictions should be releasing water for remodels, and it is their water to determine how it's used. And yes, I do agree the county has an issue, but I think that in this case, the question is, should you be able to get both a credit and a rebate?
Well, which one is the best for the builder? Because some of these builders are holding on to can't get these projects done and been holding on to the water for all that time. Some of those projects are like September Ranch. That thing been going on for what, almost 30 years, 20 or 30 years, close to it. So what is the best way for us not to accommodate them, but then to say, hey, it's a deadline?
I think my prior comments, I was behind the times on the slide. I was speaking to the 5 versus 10 year deadline.
Exactly. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I was out of turn, but I do not. I liked the way it was. It was like you get the choice. You get a credit or you get a rebate, as long as there's clarity about that.
Director Oglesby, any comments on this one?
No, I agree with my fellow director. It's just, and you, I think your last question is how can we incentivize the builders to build? I'm not talking about the builder's remedy. I'm not talking about, where we don't want it to happen, but
Right.
you get too far when you say you don't want it to happen. Now we're talking about planning, right?
Mhm.
We shouldn't be getting into what is it? Youth land use.
Land use.
Land use.
And so we should be talking about, do we have the water? Does it make sense to hold those applications over? And does it make sense for the extension? And right now, until, these things open up a little bit, I think we should continue with our same policy, maybe not declare 10 years, but definitely 5 years. And I understand maybe people will come in for extensions, but hopefully they don't, because like Dave said, hopefully the cities are doing what they're supposed to be doing and we can wind this down. But until they're doing it, then we don't want, I don't think we want to put ourselves in a position where the water is not getting used.
Right. Okay,
All
Steph.
right. That sounded like great feedback and direction. And I think that we can move forward and bring back to you some policy changes. So I'm good with this item. Thank you.
One more? We don't know.
I don't think so. Is there another one, or is that?
Well, Steph, make sure when you come up with these changes that also run them past the TAC and the realtors. Just give us their thoughts, because
We will do that.
Yeah, ask them. What do y'all think is best? Well, I'm still on the board, because once I leave, I'm going to be down there with them hollering, you should have did this, you should have did that, you didn't ask us. So save yourself the trouble. Well, you're leaving anyway, so I don't know, you might be the mayor of Carmel in the future. So I'm just warning you. Okay, what's the next item?
Yeah, Chair Edwards, we do have Mr. Myrick with his hand raised.
Oh, okay, yes, please, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
Andrew, Mr. Myrick, when you're ready, you may speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I just want to thank the staff and the committee for bringing this forward for us to look at. Definitely agree with all the committee's comments on this matter. Just wanted to throw out one last thought, and this was on the item number 2. Realizing the committee doesn't want to impose those costs of replacing the units, but just wanted to point out that a lot of people don't have dishwashers or washing machines. And so in those cases where they don't have them, requiring them to install updated fixtures would impose even more substantial costs on them. So just wanted to throw that out into the mix, and looking forward to the TAC meeting that you mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah, any more?
No, we have no other raised hands.
Okay, that's that good city of Seaside thinking. All right. Next item.
Next item, we have discussion items. Number 3, personnel update. So I'll take that. My name's Molly Wooden. I'm the new water demand manager, heading a month now. But as well, we also have a new conservation representative, Kyle, who has actually been with us for 10 years. And he moved up into this new position while we're getting more permits. So there's a vacancy for an inspector position, which we are having interviews tomorrow, and hope to hire someone as soon as possible to fill that gap. So we can continue doing our best work and making sure everyone is not only compliant, but helping them serve and sustain for many years to come.
Molly, how many candidates did you land on for interviews?
So interviewing 6 people, but more than 60 applied, I believe. So a lot of good talent out there. I'm very excited to talk to these people. Most of them have prior experience working with districts or cities on water conservation matters. So very good pool of candidates.
I think it was 80. We had over 80 candidates.
Yeah, definitely a good place to work. You can tell by the amount of people that want to work here. That's all I have for personnel update. Okay, if we move on to item number 3, summary of jurisdictional allocation policies.
Yeah, and I guess I'll take this one, Molly. You know, this is an informational item. I think the staff note speaks for itself. There's some tabular information on pages 2 and 3 of this staff report. And then the recently adopted positions or policies have been included. The 2 to highlight, actually Director Goyen already highlighted one. The county has not received a recommendation at the Board of Supervisors from the planning HCD folks. There were 2 readings of this proposed policy that's included at the Planning Commission of the county. It is a little restrictive still. It's basically defining an envelope or a size of a house you can build, how many bathrooms, how many fixture unit count you may have. So it's very prescriptive. And then I also want to highlight the city of Monterey. While I've included them in the tables, right now they are releasing no water, having adopted a policy that makes it contingent upon the State Water Board approving modifications to the cease and desist order. So it's been problematic in the city of Monterey for a new business owner to expand the business, for an existing homeowner to do a remodel, or some small residential projects that have already been proposed are currently not receiving an allocation released from the city's jurisdictional water account. I'll leave it at that. As I said, I think the staff report's very descriptive. Molly I think you've asked me to kind of clean this up and make a link to it somewhere on the website.
Especially since we're relying on the jurisdictions to allocate water at this point. That's been our message from the demand group here. So it'd be nice to have something to point to.
Yep.
So Dave, you gonna give this report to the board, to the public, let them know how people are doing? If they can't find out, we the water
I can do that.
I prefer us telling people, this is what we got, this is what we got on the books, and your city is doing this. So,
Sure.
go in that direction.
All right. Yep. So Sarah, we'll add an item to the board packet, and we'll rework this as a staff report for that.
Right. I like, you got a lot of stuff here. Good. Any questions from the board members, committee members? And how about the public, Sarah?
Yes, we have someone on the phone. Caller ending in 735. If you'd like to address the committee.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Monique Olson. I'm a resident of Monterey, and I'm also a property owner in Monterey. My property address is 1880 Prescott. It's a small vacant substandard lot, an SFR that was approved back in October of 2015. And I didn't realize that the city had removed the water waiting list. And I'm very, very upset. Excuse me if I feel like I'm being nervous, but this was all very new to me. And their projects and their language and their item that they approved was that they would do the top priority for water allocation would be issued for water permits for the affordable housing prior to any other project types in their number 1 in their resolution 25118. And I'm looking at your ordinance number 197, and your page 5 of 7, your number E, which is halfway through the page of your 197, indicates release of allocation, and it states jurisdictions are encouraged to maintain records of the release of water and expiration. However, you did not include that jurisdictions are encouraged to give the water to the water waiting list folks. And we did have a water waiting list at one point, and for whatever reason, the city eliminated it. That's what I was told. And I feel that this is really unfair. And I completely agree with the Monterey County in the unincorporated areas that the water allocation should honor and give the water waiting list people the first priority. I think that's very important. And I'm just very disappointed that in your language, you did not encourage the jurisdictions to give the water to the water waiting list people. And now Monterey has decided to go with this affordable as the top priority. And I would just like to, share with you that there's really no affordability in my project, because it looks like, they're stacking all their chips with this affordable. And I feel just completely discriminated against as an SFR. And I'm just very, very upset with the way that this situation has rolled out for Monterey. And I'm probably going over my time, but I do appreciate you listening to my comment. And if you could, encourage Monterey to go back to people that are still on the water waiting list. I'm still on there, but this document is just nothing more than a bunch of names and addresses from 2003 to 2018. And then magically, somehow they disappeared it. They disappeared the list. And it was like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that I was not even on the list anymore until just recently. So I'm very, very upset. Thank you for your time and consideration in my comment. And kudos to the County of Monterey for honoring their prior commitments, and shame on the City of Monterey for not. Thank you so much, and have a good, pleasant rest of your day.
You too, ma'am. Any more, Sarah?
Yes, I have Mr. Myrick.
Go ahead.
When you're ready.
Thank you very much. And I read this staff report with a lot of interest. I think it's really relevant. So reading it, it just seems like there's a concern that the jurisdictions are not using the water that's been allocated to them. And I'll say a big part of that is the fact that most water users require a meter. And so I appreciate the fact that the water district is trying to get the CDO lifted, but we've arranged our water into categories so that we make sure that when those projects come through, when they're ready to go, that we still have water available at that time. And currently, we've been told that because the district still has a water reserve, and we've been told that if we run out of water, we can come back to the district and then we can get more water. But one of the concerns we've had, and I've talked to some other jurisdictions and they have the same concerns, is that we don't know who's going to be in charge of the water district when that day comes. And so what I wanted to throw out as an idea is, what if instead of waiting for us to use up all of our water before we could talk about getting more water, instead, as projects were completed, then the water could be restored at that point. And so that way, if somebody were to say add a bathroom onto their house, we wouldn't have to worry about the cumulative effect of all of those bathrooms dipping into our ability to get those strategic projects in later. We would just get the water back, in the next year or something, and then we could turn around and allocate it again. I know that if we did something like that, I would be a lot more comfortable recommending to my council that we allocate water for bathroom additions and other kind of those projects like that, because we wouldn't have to worry about running out of water, right? The district has the reserve. It would just be helpful if we could front load it. So I just wanted to throw that idea out there. You know, if the district or committee thinks it's a good idea, I talked to all the other jurisdictions about this idea just to get some feedback, and there were a couple of them that said, yeah, you know what, that might make a difference in how they choose to allocate their water as well. So I would just want to throw out the idea about maybe bringing this back. You mentioned you were going to bring a technical advisory committee meeting, and maybe we could add this to the agenda for that as well. So yeah, just want to throw that out there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any more, sir?
No, we have no other raised hands.
Okay, Jim, you heard them out. So I don't want you to comment if we don't need to, but we'll be talking about it.
Yeah, those are all good comments that we will address internally.
Okay, thank you. What's the next item?
Discussion item number 5, we have
I'll
the updated application to modify CDO. I'm gonna let Mike McCullough take that.
Okay. Thank you, Molly. So this is just a kind of a verbal update as to what's been going on with the cease and desist order. We had a meeting with Senator John Laird earlier this month, or last month, and just laid out the situation where we were, what's been going on, what we've done, just to kind of get some additional insight as to, you know, possible next steps. We then submitted a letter or just an email to the State Water Resources Control Board. What was that, 2 weeks ago, May 20th. We highlighted an article that was in the weekly about, you know, the current situation here and what one of the editors of that publication thought about the water situation. Then on Monday, June 1st, we submitted another supplement number 4 to the State Water Board in regards to additional information. And this is basically our urban water management plan that the board passed. And then we also were trying to comment on the procedures, the government code about ex parte communication. So we continue to push forward and make inquiries with the State Water Board. I wish that we were successful, but we have yet to get a confirmation of receipt or any other information from us in regards to what we've sent. So Dave, do you have anything else on that?
No, I mean, you know, we looked into what our due process rights are, and it's really interesting that most of the administrative procedures that govern due process start with the Administrative Act. And so failure to schedule a hearing isn't necessarily that Administrative Act. I think if it keeps being prolonged, it is in fact, you know, a failure to honor our due process rights to a hearing under 1832 of the State Water Code. So, you know, we could make a complaint to the State Attorney General, but the job of the Attorney General is generally to protect their own state agencies from complaints and lawsuits. But doing so might at least result in a communication between the State Attorney General office and the State Water Board office, which would be a little bit lower than the next option, which would be to seek in the Superior Court administrative mandamus, a writ of administrative mandamus. But again, typically those cases are that you've been wronged through a decision, and here we can't even get to a decision. The way we've been wronged is getting to a hearing. So I'm not sure what to do with those. I think we've tasked Michael and Delay and Laredo to provide some advice prior to the board meeting that we can contemplate and then discuss in open session.
Yeah, and to that effect, we've been putting together a memo in our office that's going to be going out likely tomorrow. Just polishing it up now. That'll go to the entire board to kind of kickstart that discussion.
Any comments before I get started? There's no comment.
No, well, no, I'll be quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Dave, the general manager, laid it out pretty good. You know, the putting on the record that we have been delayed, but at the end, the attorney general is just going to protect the agency. That's his job. But I do think we have to continue to push and argue the point that, you know, one way or the other, you need to give us an answer. And I do think we need to get our legislative, local legislative advocates, local officials, state elected officials involved, because it's an agency that they oversee, and all we want is for our paperwork to be processed, you know, one way or the other, right? So we're not asking them to make it a favorable answer at this time, but we're definitely asking them to, agency that they oversee are not answering their constituents. So I think we're pushing. I just want to keep us pushing forward.
Yeah, and on that particular topic, Mike has been in communication with both Laird's office and Addis's office, even providing them framework for letters to send, but I don't think either one has sent the letter yet. Is that right, Mike? Yeah.
No letters.
Director Gwen, any comments on this one?
None?
Okay, well, here it goes. Hey, this community deserves a hearing. And Michael and Fran and Big Dave out there, they know what I'm talking about. We deserve a hearing. So when you write these letters, don't write them, try to sugarcoat them and make us feel good or whatever. I want you to make them to feel bad. Make them feel bad for not giving this community a hearing. We want to use the water. We want to build, and they won't let us. The sad thing about this, I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm hollering, but we wait until after the election to do this. I wanted to do it before the election. Put these people in a box. Now we want to talk to them. Now they want to hurt. Now they want to take their time again. You know, and when you write that letter, you CC everybody. All those politicians that y'all were talking about. Even the governor that want to be president. We got to put these people in the box and let them know that this community wants to be built. I want a hearing date. Now, they won't give me one next week. They won't probably give me one next month, but they might give me one 6 months from now. But I want a hearing date so this community know we're going to be here from the state soon, so everybody can sit back and stop holding on to the water. They're holding on to it because they're scared what the state going to say. I want to advise them to use the water and see what the state do. But that's my comment. I hope at the 15th board meeting, we have a good letter to send and CC everybody. Because I'm going to ask you to ask them to CC the state board, all those members sitting on them, because they need to know what's happening. That's my point. We need to tell the community what's happening. And y'all been doing a good job trying to do it behind closed doors, but we're going to open up the door on the 15th, or I'm going to open it up. So go ahead, Mike.
Alvin, we hear you loud and clear. And we've been copying a lot of people on these emails that we send. And, you know, we understand we're frustrated, everybody. So
Well, about to
All
be
right.
up. So all those of you CC, you might as well warn them. It's coming out. It's coming out because you ain't acting. And we only got this fool up there for another 5 meetings, but I'm gonna holler. So there you go.
I'm going to move to item number 6, Alvin, real quick.
Go ahead.
Status. Anybody else? Okay. Status of Senate Bill 1139. So we have a appointment for the Assembly Committee on Water, Parks, and Wildlife on June 16th at 9 a.m. I believe our esteemed general manager will be attending that committee meeting in person to provide any public comment that is necessary at that committee hearing. So we're excited that it's this far. We've had conversations with the committee staffer, provided them some additional information about the bill, and we didn't really hear anything back from them. So we're hoping that all systems are go. So Dave, do you have anything else to add?
All good.
There you go. Well, I'm going to turn this back to Molly for item number 7.
Thanks for the legislative updates tonight. I know it's not easy having no control over certain things, and we're doing our best and really not letting them get away with it. I agree with Alvin. But so next I'm gonna actually bump this over to Stephanie Kister for Summer Splash update, and might as well do the Mulch Madness update.
Hey there, Stephanie Kister Campbell. So Summer Splash, this will be our 7th year of the game. So this is a game board that gets put in the newspaper, and it's an online game that you visit our Monterey Water Info to play. And you'll view 3 websites, watch videos on those websites, and then return to our site to answer a game question. So this year's theme is global water use. So just background on that is focusing only on saving water at home gives you a very incomplete picture of how water is actually used and where its biggest impacts are. So a lot of water use is tied up in agriculture, industry, energy production. And so understanding concepts like your virtual water or your water footprint shows that a single hamburger or cotton shirt can use far more water than your daily household activities. So your consumption choices often matter as much, if not more, than your faucet habits. So that's our theme. We'll have a intro video that sets the water scene, talks about water on Earth and where it's used across the globe. And then we have a video that gives some background on AI and data centers as a emerging big water user. So some education around that. And then we have a video from next door about pure water, which is a great video that Paul made. And then it concludes with a water footprint calculation. So you input all your personal preferences and things that you do, about how far you drive, how much clothes you buy, do you have pets that eat meat, do you eat meat, how often do you eat meat? And it spits out a calculation on your water footprint, and then gives you suggestions on how to improve your water footprint in those categories. So the game board, we're keeping the same overall design, but we're updating some cells here. So you'll see this is the graphic from the illustrator. So the black and white ones are the ones he's working on to update. So they're just replacements of what was in the cell last game. So we have recycled water, we have agriculture, we have a microchip there, and an earth to kind of depict this theme. And so we have our games, which are just slightly modified from last year: high efficiency clothes washer, dishwasher, iPad, gift cards, movie tickets. So hopefully those will entice people to come and play. And it'll get launched July 1st. Any questions or comments?
Any questions or comments from committee members?
Just looks really engaging, and I'll be encouraging people to play and playing myself.
Great.
Any more? Keep up the good work.
All right, and then I'll take us on to Mulch Madness. So we are moving forward with scheduling our fall event. When we have our new staff person on board, we'll make sure they can work it. So our date is TBD, but it'll probably be in October-ish. And so that is a half-day event where we invite residents from the district to come and get free mulch, basically a truckload of mulch or 5 bags. So the cost is evened out there. And yeah, it's a great event. So they come through, very efficient. You just line up in your vehicle and they load you with the truck, the backhoe fills you up and you're on your way. So it's a really great event.
Any questions from board members?
No questions from me.
Okay.
Just a comment that I'm glad about someone who does not have a truck. I was glad to hear about the bags, so I hope the bags continue to be on.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
And
thank you.
we also got the advertisement out on that one.
Yeah, that will go in the email blast and we put that in the papers. Yep.
Okay, good. Let me go back a little bit. No, go ahead and finish with your number 9. Who got item 9?
Kyle.
Is in charge of that, so I'm gonna let Kyle take this update on Rosie's Garden project.
Yeah. Good afternoon, committee members. I am Kyle Smith, the newest water demand analyst. Sarah, can I share my screen?
Yes, there's a button there. When you hover down the bottom, it says share.
Perfect. Okay.
There you go.
So just some background for you to jog your memory. October last year, Rosie Garden Advisory Committee came, requested about $8,200 for rehabbing their garden. And the news is they are all done and they did a great job with it. And I just wanted to share some photos of how it came. So this was the area in question to start with. Not very many plants living there. And there's just a view.
Excuse me, Kyle, I don't think the slides are advancing. I'm still seeing the first update slide. Just
okay.
So Kyle, if you hover on the bottom of your, there you go. You can run it as a there you go.
I don't know if this is that advancing now for you guys?
It was a minute ago, and now we're back to the update slide. So just a minute ago, we saw the picture of the initial garden, and now we're just update on Rosie's garden. Click to add subtitle. Okay, we've got the background slide now.
Yeah, I might just roll through it here for you.
Yeah.
So this was the garden as it existed back in October. Here it is from down below looking up. And this was the installation of the irrigation for the garden, all subsurface drip, point of source drip, and very well done by the installers themselves. More installation photos, young plants. And then this was last in May at their ribbon cutting, opening the garden. Really good job, and it'll be a great area for the community to welcome you into the Robles Del Rio neighborhood and also serve as an area where you can view climate appropriate plants that you may want to put in your garden. So all the plants had placards identifying them. There is a thank you sign with our name on it, and they've dedicated the storyboard with the plant list to the district. And then I just have one more before and after photo. So the money was well spent, and they did a very good job with that project.
Hey, any committee members? None from there? All right, Director Gwen, are you going to give this presentation at the board meeting?
I can if you would like.
If y'all can get it on the agenda, I know the people would love to see where their money is going.
Okay.
It's kind of in my neighborhood, so
Yeah,
we have a lot of happy people here in the valley.
Director Gwen would love to have it so she can see it. See, I'm working for you. So, no problem. If we got time to put it on the agenda, put it on the agenda. Good job, Kyle.
Thank you.
Before I turn it back over again, are there any questions from the public on 9, 8, 7, 6, and I believe 5? Any comments from the audience on all those?
Chair Edwards, I see no raised hands.
Okay. All right. Molly, what's the last item we got?
All right, the last item is just suggest items to be placed in future agendas if you guys are interested in.
Okay, I have nothing. Y'all covered everything I wanted to cover. And you might not have another meeting before then. Okay, board member Oglesby, anything? Okay, good.
Nothing from me.
Director Gwen? All right, then if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I'm sorry.
You know what? You're doing very, very well, and I'm going to start saying it a lot to make everybody couple. Gawain. So I will be saying Director Gawain is present, and then people get
Keep saying I might remember it. All right, Dave. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, we can adjourn then. Good job, everyone.
Well done, Chair. Well done.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a good night. Good evening.